Blitz. So I want to see where that ban gets him.
That's right. It's entirely possible as well that Nubs is actually playing a more control-orientated lineup, or that he's just fearing that Blitz's Druid has things like the Primordial Drake and all the Spreading Plagues and things to brickwall the aggro lineup. But I guess we're going to soon see exactly what that lineup looks like. Looks like they've started doing battle, so let's get in there and spec.
Oh, Nubs, I love it. He's playing Zoo. So it's Pirate Warrior versus Zoo here for Game 1. And we see an aggressive variant of Zoo featuring the Aker's Veteran. Aker's, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and alongside Blitz with the Pirate Warrior here. Now, the important thing for Blitz is that he's going first and he's picked up a Firefly. Now, it goes without saying that having a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and so forth play in these aggressive matchups is good. Again, as we've gone over, you're battling for the board here, and whoever can win the board in the early to mid game will probably win the game. So it'll be interesting to see what Nubs does about the Firefly opening, with Flame Imp being a considerable reply if Blitz doesn't pick up a cheap weapon to deal with it.
Very nice. Yeah, I concur. I like seeing this aggressive Zoo Warlock. Interestingly enough, Blitz has just drawn a second Firefly, so he's just spamming the board with 1/2s. He's probably said, thank you very much for dealing 3 damage to yourself with that Flame Imp. And he's got an Imp 1. Flame Imp has eaten one of the Flame Elementals. And Nubs is coming back with an Argent Squire and the Usher's Veteran off the top. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. They don't give us a pronunciation guide, do they?
No, it makes it hard for us Aussies/Kiwis to do anything about it sometimes.
Exactly. So Blitz has come back in with a Frothing Berserker and traded a couple of his Flame Elementals in for the rest of the Flame Imp and the Veteran, leaving Nubs with a 2/1 Argent Squire, which is going face, and he's playing a Vicious Fledgling. Now, you'd be thinking that Vicious Fledgling's just going to die to the Frothing Berserker, but you know what? Would you rather take 6 to the face from the Frothing Berserker? I don't know that I would.
Yeah, I think that's a very heads-up play from Nubs. Rather than tapping and looking for something maybe like a Soulfire or something like that, just acknowledging that you do have to make some concessions in these aggro v aggro matchups to try and eventually win the board. He sees that he has the option of Doomguard and or Bone Mares in his hand, and just realizing that if he can just keep up somewhat with the board, he might be able to snowball this away. So I really like playing the Fledgling here, even into the Frothing.
Yeah, and looking at this, the Frothing Berserker is going to take the Fledgling on the nose. Then the Argent Squire should be able to finish off the Frothing Berserker. We've got a Spellbreaker silencing the... silencing the Argent Squire, and it looks like the Frothing Berserker has gone face. Now, Nubs' hand is very slow. It's got both the Bone Mares. He's just picked up a Voidwalker, and he has a Doom Guard in hand, and he's got 4 mana in the coin. So he's either playing the Voidwalker and life tapping, or he's playing the Doom Guard. And given that Frothing Berserker went face, I think he's going to have to consider coining out that Doom Guard. He's going face with his own Vicious Fledgling. He's got Wind Fury. Oh, very nice. And he's going face again. This is going to be interesting. It looks like we've got a real race on our hands. He's chosen Divine Shield for the second one. I like that, because at least...
Does this mean he's coining the Doom Guard to deal with the Frothing here, right?
I think he's absolutely coining the Doom Guard to deal with the Frothing Berserker. Because failure to deal with the Frothing Berserker and, say, attacking into the Spellbreaker means that the Berserker is even bigger on the following turn, and you may not get a follow-up. Doom Guard's
another
important
test passed. Yes, that he's managed to keep one of the Bone Mares in his hand.
He did, that's right. It discarded a Bone Mare and the Voidwalker, so he's kept a Bone Mare in his hand. He is still at least 2 full turns away before being able to play the Bone Mare, though, so he's going to have to keep it up. But I like that turn. The fact that the Vicious Fledgling survived, which I don't know that I quite like from Blitz, but the fact that the Vicious Fledgling survived means that it is now actually a threat. It has Divine Shield and Wind Fury. It can trade with that... it can trade with that Spellbreaker. It's Blitz's turn. Blitz has a second Spellbreaker in hand, so we know he can do that. But this is not as easy for Blitz all of a sudden. I think Nubs has recovered nicely by being able to attack with that Vicious Fledgling. And, sometimes they don't get Wind Fury and they don't get to do anything, but Nubs got Wind Fury and is now got a real threat on the board that he can use. Looks like Blitz is going all the way to the rope. Let's hope it's not internet connection problems again with him.
Yeah, I think Nubs has managed to make good of an awkward situation for him. And really turned that Vicious Fledgling, which we thought was just fodder for the Frothing Berserker, into a legitimate threat that's needed addressing, and consequently made Blitz skip his Arcanite Reaper turn, which is really impressive. Impressive play from Nubs. I really like how he's conducting himself this game. Do we see a trade into the Dreadlord to clean up? Yes, it looks like.
Yeah, that Dreadlord off the top for Nubs was fantastic. It allowed him to trade into all of Blitz's minions, including his Argent Squire, and then the Dreadlord finished off that Flame Elemental. So at this point, Nubs has just the Dreadlord on the board, and Blitz has nothing. Blitz has just played an Arcanite Reaper and gone face with it. I like this play.
Fantastic pick up here from Nubs. Sorry to interrupt you completely there. This completely throws a spanner in the works.
Absolutely. See,
really
what was going to happen?
Here as well.
What was going to happen? I liked that Arcanite Reaper to the face because it put Nubs to 11, and he had a Captain Greenskin in hand, which was going to buff the Arcanite Reaper next turn, giving him 2 attacks. I mean, it probably would have run headlong into the Bone Mare the following turn, but given he's seen one Bone Mare go to the Doomguard already, he's not really banking the other one being there. Blitz had a plan, and I think it was a good plan. The Bloodsail Corsair off the top just killed that Arcanite Reaper and put Blitz's plan to bed. And of course, getting free patches out of the deal.
Great decision to tap here as well, even though he has a turn 7 play.
Yeah. So Nubs tapped from 11 life down to 9. He still has a Bone Mare in hand, and he knows he's definitely playing it next turn. I think he was probably right that he wasn't going to lose all of his minions, that he was always going to get to Bone Mare, but it was gutsy.
Because I think Heroic kills you here as well.
I think so, exactly, right? Like, that's the danger. I was thinking it was a bit reckless because you just don't need it. You don't need to do that life tap there. You know you've got Bone Mare next turn, and it's not like the life tap was going to get you closer to killing the pirate. Now, we know, looking at Blitz's hand, that he does not have what he needs to finish it. We know that he did, short of that Bloodsail Corsair, but we know that Blitz is not winning this one. But I think that life tap was just a little too reckless. Still,
a little too reckless in what's been really a really well calculated game from Nubs so far. Very impressed with his play, and it's putting Blizzard in an awful spot. And as we were discussing before, even though this line of play may work out for Nubs, it's not necessarily the best line of play. Again, referring to that tap. Yeah,
no, I agree. And what's interesting here is that Blitz can put a lot of damage. Blitz can take a lot of damage from his Bittertide Hydra. The one attack minions from Nubs are attacking into it, including. Oh my goodness me!
Oh, this is just lethal.
Yes, it is. And then Bone Mare buffs up the Dreadlord, putting Blitz to 1. And at the end of the turn, the Dreadlord does 1 damage to the Bittertide. I was really impressed with Nubs' play here. I thought Blitz leaving that vicious fledgling up was a little risky, but calculated, because you don't know that your opponent's going to get Wind Fury out of it. But Nubs just pounced on the opportunity. He went face with that vicious fledgling instead of trying to trade with it straight up. He said, look, if I don't get Wind Fury here, I'm probably too far behind. It went face, he got Wind Fury, he got Divine Shield on it instead of something else. You know, Divine Shield, knowing that he was going to get to leverage that the following turn. I mean, it got Spellbreakered, but the point was he was suddenly putting a lot of threats on the board. He coined out that Doomguard, knowing that he needed the Doomguard to pressure his... I liked that play from Nubs. That was fantastic.
Some very calculated aggression, and the precise way he steered that game is basically the only reason he won. I mean, again, short of that little tap where he could have died to Leroy and the 2-mana, is that Heroic Strike? It's completely blanked from me.
It is Heroic Strike, you're thinking.
Heroic Strike, yeah. Besides that, I thought he played the game extremely well. Again, questionable from Blitz to not trade into the fledgling there, but again, Nubs made the best of a bad situation, picked up a clutch Bloodsail Corsair, and I loved the way he played that game. I loved the aggro versus aggro matchup. I love this Rogue versus Priest matchup now, and I was excited about this series, and it's already delivered. We're just 1 game in.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you could say that maybe what Nubs was doing there was trying to tilt his opponent. What are the odds he has Heroic Strike and Leroy? Let's life tap, make him think, oh, why did he do that? So that he's putting his opponent on edge. But no, I think outside of that life tap, things have gone very well. Now, this was interesting. We just saw Nubs having an opening hand that had Spirit Lash, Kazakus, and Prophet Velen, and he mulliganed away the Kazakus against the Rogue. I think I would have considered keeping the Kazakus. There's nothing better as a priest.
5-mana potions.
Yeah, you play 4-mana Kazakus, get a 5-mana potion, hoping to clear the board and draw some cards. It sounds ideal, but he decided to throw it away instead and got back Binding Heal, Curious Glimmer, Silence, and is drawn into Radiant Elemental and Rise of the Chained. Now, admittedly, Rise of the Chained is fantastic, but Blitz has come screaming out of the gates with Swashbuckler getting patches, of course, and is now coining a South Sea captain.
I think this might be a quick game.
Yeah. I think you really wanted to keep the Kazakus for this exact eventuality.
Yes.
I don't think you need... Like, you want to throw away everything else so that you hope to get back things like Radiant Elemental, Loot Hoarder, Curious Glimmerroot, or whatever else, but you keep the Kazakus, I think. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Curious Glimmerroot has got Nubs a Plague Scientist. I know, I always get this wrong. Whenever I Curious Glimmerroot, I think, which of these spells would I rather discover, forgetting that it's not Discover.
It's not a Discover effect.
But Nubs did not get that wrong, and he got the Plague Scientist. A second Southsea Captain comes down for Blitz. This is ugly.
What do you make of this trade here? Do you like it or do you hate it?
I think I like it. I mean, you could go either way. So silenced the Southsea Captain, right? But a second Southsea Captain made it into a 4/4, and he's traded that into the Curious Glimmerroot. And it survives, of course, because it's a 4/4, which means it needs to be something like Spirit Lash or Holy Nova next turn or something to finish it off. At this point, Blitz's board is still a little bit vulnerable to a few things. But no, I like that trade. I think you want to trade, you want to kill that Glimmerroot so it can't kill the second Southsea Captain. Then we saw Nubs just play a Blood Mage Thalnos and a heal. You can imagine when that Thalnos came down, Blitz was like, oh, please no Spirit Lash, please no Spirit Lash. And it didn't happen. So that's fine. Blitz has got a second Swashbuckler, which gave him a Northshire Cleric. I suspect he's not going to get a lot of mileage out of that Northshire Cleric. Right now he's considering daggering down the Thalnos, or he's played a Tar Creeper, and his Patches is eating the Thalnos, and then he's going for face for about 9 damage. Yep, which is putting Nubs to 15. So we talked about this as a delicate balance earlier. He's putting all of the pressure on and hoping that Nubs doesn't have the answer. Nubs is at 5 miles.
Now, Dragonfire is a big pickup here. So you see that your opponent's board, at least to your knowledge, you have 1, 4, 8, 10. You have 15 there, right? So is the play here, Priest of the Feast, Binding Heal, just to live to Dragonfire Potion? And hope
I think it is. And it looks like that's what Nubs is doing. So prior to that pickup, you'd probably still be doing that. You could Raza and heal yourself for 2, and it's not enough. You think... These rogues have a lot of burst damage, so instead he's gone with Priest of the Feast, Binding Heal to put himself up to 23, on the off chance that he gets to survive to play Dragonfire Potion next turn, because Dragonfire Potion, A, wipes the board, and B, prevents things like Bone Mare being catastrophic the following turn. Looks like Nubs has gone with the Priest of the Feast, Binding Heal play, and it looks like Blitz has drawn a Prince Kaliseth. I think Prince Kaliseth is the kind of card you're happy to play into a Dragonfire Potion.
Yeah, you have to hedge that against potential AoE. As the game goes on, your minions get stronger, so you have an insurance policy there. So that's a great pickup to justify using some of his money. You can't be upset about that.
Not at all. It looks like a backstab is being considered to take out the Priest of the Feast, because Priest of the Feast will survive a Dragonfire Potion and give much needed healing if it does. Now, admittedly, you would just dagger it down the following turn, but Dragonfire Potion with gain 3 health is clearly better than Dragonfire Potion with not gain 3 health. You know that you don't have lethal this turn, so I think you set up lethal over 2 turns, hoping that the Dragonfire Potion isn't there, and you absolutely take down that Priest of the Feast. So here's the backstab.
Yep, you see the backstab coming in.
And then I'm guessing, an SI7 agent. So he's attacked him with Patches and played SI7 agent, so he's really banking on the Dragonfire Potion not being there. Fortunately for Blitz, we know that it is. Still, his attack puts Nubs down to 11 health. He passes back the turn. He's about to get Dragonfire Potioned. Boom, there it is. Now, Nubs does not have a lot of refill at this point. Well, when I said he doesn't have a lot of refill, he didn't have a lot of refill. He's now playing Northshire Cleric. And it looks like he's playing the Shadow Visions he got from Swashbuckler, and he's just snap-taken the Cold Blood. He's daggering up, and I suspect he goes face form with that dagger. So his Leroy Jenkins is a 7/3. So between the Leroy Jenkins that he drew this turn and the Cold Blood he got from the Shadow Visions, he's got 11 damage from hand.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is hope his opponent doesn't spot that. And I think he's about to get away with it.
Yeah, I believe you're right here, but I can't say I agree with the way Blitz did prepare against the potential Dragonfire Potion. The Thalnos was already played, and you knew that the Thalnos Spirit Lash wasn't much of an option. So it's like, you don't really see the particular point in playing the SI Agent 7 there. What are you actually achieving by playing an additional card?
No, I agree. Like, you knew you didn't have lethal, and you knew you want to take the Priest of the Feast off the board because you don't have lethal. If you had lethal, you just go past it. So you take the Priest of the Feast off the board, you put as much damage on the face as you can, and then you hold back, because if they don't have Dragonfire Potion, you've probably got lethal, especially given that you have an SI7 agent in hand.
Right.
They do have Dragonfire Potion, you don't want to play into it. So I don't know. I think it was a little over the top. He did get punished for it, but then he got immediately rewarded by drawing Leroy Jenkins off the top. The Shadow Visions he got off the Swashbuckler was almost always going to get a Cold Blood because Temporary plays so few spells, right?
Exactly.
So he had that in hand, knew that he was probably going to get a Cold Blood if he wanted it, but the Leroy off the top was just icing on the cake. Take it where you can.
Yep, exactly right. And I'm just looking at Blitz's hand, even pre-Mulligan being finished, is absolutely fantastic. I mean, you could almost justify going into a full keep there. You have early game that your opponent's going to have to answer, and then you have the refill. So, I don't know. I would almost consider keeping all of that.
I would too. Firefly and Primal Fin Totem is your early game, and it's great. And you're going to have your hero power through there as a shaman. And then just keeping the Doppelgangster and the Evolve for the late game. I mean, the Firefly just gives you so many plays out the early turns that you don't mind that the Doppelgangster and the Evolve is your 5th turn play. And it's such a great 5th turn play. Now, looking at Nubs has... Wow, Nubs threw away the Dragonfire Potion. He had Dragonfire Potion, Binding Heal, and
in electing to keep the Shadow Word Horror.
I mean, I would keep the Horror, because you're going to be able to use that Horror really well early on against a Shaman, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I would consider keeping the Dragonfire Potion too, because it's also really good, especially to take out, if they get down a couple of things from below, or they do a Doppelgangster Evolve turn, Dragonfire Potion is really good against that as well. I don't want to completely fault Nubs on this one, because one of the things Nubs' decks needs to do is draw through itself. It needs to draw all of its cards to get Raza online, Anduin online. And if your plan is to draw lots of cards, then you want to draw lots of cards, you'll get to your Dragonfire Potion, hopefully, when you need it. So Nubs did get down a Loot Hoarder, which traded with the Firefly, which drew him Kazakus. So
yes, and this is huge because it does one of two things, right? A, you have a turn 4 play with a substantial body, considering how small the board is. B, you have, a potential for a 5-mana AoE, which also helps you actually do things with your mana as Priest. And when you're actually doing things with your mana as Priest, you're winning the game a lot of the time here. Actually being able to do things and not float a lot of mana in between these turns and just threaten such a powerful answer to board. It's just so powerful. I think people... With Raza and Anduin being the main highlighted deck, I think people sometimes overlook just how powerful this card is. But unfortunately for Nubs, he has actually missed on the 4 damage to all minions. So it'll be interesting to see with this last pick here, whether it be the random polymorph, the 2 cards, or the 2 demons, what he'll go with.
I would assume he would want the 2 cards, but no, he summoned 2 friendly minions that died this game, draw 2 cards. Oh yeah, he took the draw 2 cards. He still has the Shadow Word Horror in hand. I would have been tempted to Shadow Word Horror this board already. Like, just taking out a 1-2, a 1-1, a totem, and the totem spitting out more 1-1s seems pretty good. He went with the greedy play instead of playing Kazakus, and it's certainly paying off. He can play the potion this turn if he wants. He's just playing the Shadow Word Horror to wipe the board. He's got the potion that's going to add summon 2 friendly minions and draw 2 cards. That's pretty tempo positive. And he's drawn into Anduin, so I think this is going pretty well for Nubs.
We see Blitz fighting back here with the double evolve.
Yep, I was going to say, it's going well for Nubs depending on what happens here. Ooh, this is a good evolve for Blitz.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are 2 4-attack minions. Traditionally, a hard minion for Nubs to kill. And what we mean by that is, looking at Nubs' hand, we have Shadow Word Pain. Destroy a minion with 3 or less attack. Zzz. Shadow Word Death. Destroy a minion with 5 more attack. Zzz. Nubs has got a 4-5 with Taunt, a 4-4, and a 6-6. I mean, we can take out the 6-6. We still got those 2 4-attack minions. They're going to put a lot of pressure. When Shadow Reaper Anduin comes down, destroy all minions with 5 more attack. Zzz, not going to happen. Oh, I like this play.
I like this play. It's using a lot of your mana. You're cycling an extra card through your deck for answers. You know you were using Death anyway, so why not draw first, use all your mana, and be able to weave in the heal at the end there. It's just good mana recognition and good forethought about the turn looking ahead for Nubs. I really like that play.
Absolutely. Like, a newer player would see Power Shield go, why would I play it on my opponent's minion? I mean, in this case, we just talked about the fact that Nubs wants to draw through his deck. He doesn't care about the health. That's just an advantage. That's just a bonus. Plays it on the minion he's about to Shadow Word Death, gets the new card, gets it gone. Fantastic.
Yeah, really good heads-up play there. Now we see that Blitz actually has picked up a Bloodlust, so if this board does go unanswered, looks like the game will actually end. So you see the Holy Nova here from Nubs, possibly in recognition of that.
Yeah, every minion you can take off the board when Bloodlust is present is just is super good. Oh, yeah, Holy Nova and a Holy Smite to finish off the, what is that guy called, Murabi. That's also extra good. That's left.
I like this as well.
Yeah, Blitz has only got 2 minions on the board, which makes the Bloodlust a lot less threatening. So I like that play from Nubs. I've been really impressed with Nubs' play here. Still, Blitz is playing a good deck for this and has just come back over the top. He's still got Aya Blackpaw in play, he's still got the Sunwalker in play, and he's just played a Thing from Blow and a couple of... Oh, he's got a 1/1 totem and he's got a Firefly.
He's got a Dragonfire pick up here for Nubs, and that's absolutely huge to his prospects of being able to win the game.
It's so good.
We see the Anduin come down instead.
Oh, I like that. I like that because it's going to do much the same as the Dragonfire potion, but it also pops the Ire and brings out the... But is this lethal?
Oh, with the Jade Claws, that's lethal though.
Oh, there it is. I still like the approach the Nubs took because...
Oh, never mind. You don't need Jade Claws.
Yeah, it does finish him off. So Nubs went with Anduin to try and soften up the board a lot more, and was going to come back over the top with Dragonfire Potion next turn to wipe everything clean. Like that's going to be what seals the deal for you. Unfortunately for Nubs, Blitz did have the Bloodlust with just enough time to get it in before Nubs could truly take control of the game.
I agree completely, except it seemed like the way Nubs was steering the game was to be mitigating the potential of Bloodlust lethal, and then seemed to drop the ball and ignore the Bloodlust lethal prospects at the 11th hour, which kind of confuses me. I would love to be inside his brain there and see why the Anduin was played there. I'm not too sure.
I think you're right, and that is a high-level mistake that a lot of people make. You make a decision to play around a certain card from your opponent, and you're like, all right, I'm going to play around it, and then at some point you just give up playing around it. I mean, what was the point of playing around it in the first place if you weren't going to respect it all along? But you know, I guess Dragonfire Potion would have played around it, but there comes a point where you can be too late getting Anduin into play. And I think maybe he was just taking the risk that if I don't get Anduin into play now, I'll never get it into play. But, you know, that game's done. It didn't work out. Nubs has queued his, I would say this is Tempo Rogue, into Blitz's Pirate Warrior.
Now, I will ask a couple of things. Number one, this 1, 2, 3, I've never been so excited to counter 3. The second I will ask a question is, what are your thoughts on Hallucination in such a tempo-centric deck?
I don't like it. It's a cool spell. I have enjoyed hallucinating myself plenty. I mean, in game, not outside of the game.
Not outside, of course. Yeah.
No, of course. Tempo Rogue doesn't play very many spells because it doesn't really need to. It plays Prince Kaliseth generally, although I've seen a few decks start cutting that in favor of things like Galacta Crawlers and Eviscerates. But Hallucination doesn't do anything to the deck other than give you a chance at high rolling up something nice. But as we can see here, Nubs spending time hallucinating earlier has just meant that Blitz can Firefly Prince Kaliseth into Southsea Captain, getting out of 3/3 patches. That's the dream draw for Blitz. Blitz is just... he's loving this. Now, Nubs is daggering up and played a Southsea Deckhand, which he's using to take out the Southsea Captain. But, I mean, is it too little too late? I kind of think it is.
If Blitz is able to pick up a weapon, I would imagine it's too little too late, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Blitz still has a Flame Elemental and a 2/2 patches. Looks like he's also just playing a Bloodsail Cultist, saying Battle Cry, who needs a Battle Cry? And he's attacking Nubs down to 22. So we have a Pirate Warrior that has a bunch of minions on the board. It doesn't have any weapons. Yeah, that could be better. But at this point, Nubs has nothing on the board. He's just drawn Prince Kaliseth, but that only buffs the minions in his deck. Oh, he's Shadow Stepping it. Still doesn't help any of the minions in hand. A less experienced player might be wetting themselves a little bit here, going, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot of opposing minions. I'm in trouble." But I think Blitz is probably like, "Fine, I'm just gonna get through all this stuff and keep hitting you in the face.
I'm just gonna kill you." And we see the Enzol's first mate picked up there alongside the Bloodsail Cultist. This game, sorry to say, it's all but over. Rogue can't deal with wide boards like this if they don't have board of their own. And again, board-centric aggressive matchups is just textbook Hearthstone. So Blitz putting on a bit of a pirate clinic here.
Yep. So. Zoltimus Nate, followed by the second Bloodsail Cultist, has given Blitz the 2/4 weapon that he wants. He's still got 1 million minions on the board, give or take 1 million minus 6, and can just keep attacking. Nubs is on 13. Nubs has drawn a Southsea Deckhand. It's just not going to be enough. It looks like it's trading with Cultists. Nowhere near enough. Of course, if Nubs could do anything useful, like maybe get a taunt in play, it looks like Blitz is ready with a Spellbreaker in hand for silencing it. So I think things are looking a little bit dire here.
Yeah. Again, this is testament to Blitz's tournament lineup kind of just carrying him through these games as well. Of course, he's played well for the vast majority of the series, but yeah, the lineup being extremely solid. Just really, the pre-game decisions he's made are really shining through.
I agree. It looks like Nubs has traded down the Spellbreaker, but has also committed a 4/4 Vicious Fledgling and a 4/4 Dread Corsair to the board and dropped Nubs to 6 health. Swashbuckler gave Nubs a Forge of Souls, which drew 0 weapons out of his deck. Looks like Nubs is playing out all the spells in his hand. It's not great for Nubs.
No.
But he's well dead. Oh, well, I'll tell you what. His Swashbuckler is a 3/3, is an 11/3 thanks to a couple of Cold Bloods. An Execute is taking down the Dread Corsair, but Nubs is passing the turn back on 2 health. No, didn't even do that. Bottom
and
right.
that's Blitz taking the series 3-1. Relatively comfy towards the end there. Now, I don't think that 3-1 scoreline tells the tale of how well Nubs actually played that series, in my opinion.
No, I think so. I agree. I mean, other than, as you were saying, that choice to play Anduin